Back, you're still watching This Week, and I'm Somna Sambo, and we're taking a look at all the big issues happening within the outgoing week. Now, fuel queues have resurfaced as scarcity hits FCT, Niger, Kaduna, Nasarawa, and at least 5 other states where prices have also gone up. Many motorists continue to wait for hours in long queues at petrol stations, with some stations selling as high as 750 naira per litre, while others know the streets go through the streets selling it for double the price at 1,500 naira per litre. Now, at the receiving end are hundreds of passengers who are left stranded at bus stops trying to reach their destinations. Marketers have blamed the situation on logistics and supply hitches. The Nigeria State Oil Company, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, is currently the sole importer of petrol into Nigeria. The company, in a statement, explained that it had address concerns surrounding the scarcity. According to NNPCL, the scarcity in certain regions of the country is due to logistical challenges which have since been resolved, and there are no plans to increase the prices of petroleum products. But despite these assurances, prices have continued to soar. In Kaduna State, most stations are not selling petrol as a result of scarcity of the commodity, but a few stations dispensing it are selling it between 750 and 800 naira, while the activities of black marketers continue to boom, with some of them selling a litre of the product as high as 1,300 naira per litre. Well, to help us make sense of all of this, we have joining us now in the studio Dr. Sam Amadi, who's the director of Abuja School of Social and Political Thought, and he's also an Arise News analyst. Thank you so much, Doctor, for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, talk to us about the statement by the NNPC beginning. Are you convinced about the statement that all is well, and then we still see people sleeping in filling stations, especially in the nation's capital, Abuja?
All cannot be well. I mean, so when you say logistical challenges, it depends on how big, how massive, how naughty it is. So yes, it's logistics, whether it's in terms of supply chain, disruption, whether in terms of you don't have the commodity to go around for now, maybe supply from the import side or from the local transportation. So whatever it is, it's a supply constraint. But the question then is, it has been resolved. If it is resolved, it shouldn't take more than a couple of hours for you to see changes. We see tankers loading in, and then that frees the bottleneck. Last night, even my own driver spent almost all the nights, couldn't get, the lines were so much, they have to close it. This morning, we had to queue in, and it took about at least 4 hours. I walked around when I was doing exercise, saw many of the stations. So the question is, look at the economic costs, look at the social disruption. And the reason why this is really pathetic is that this is not the era of rigid regulation of fuel price. So you can't say it's the fact that we're buying at 180, 185, 200. We are buying, at least before now, about 500 something. Some now 6, some 7, 8, 9. So if you're paying that much and you don't have the supply, the main argument since 2014, the APC government has been that they have defeated long queues.
Yeah, I mean,
the disruption. So even
especially during the campaigns last year, that was the message to Nigerians that fuel queues are no longer
there. So you might say you are paying more, but you are getting no more queues. Now, we've seen increasing frequency of queues, maybe not as bad as this. We've seen it in the past, maybe 2, 3 times. So the question then is, what's this bottleneck that we need to address? For 3 days, this is the 3rd day we've seen increasing queues and lack of supply. So if NNP says they have resolved it, then by now there should be no queue. So it's not yet resolved. Maybe it's logistic challenge, but they have not evidently resolved it satisfactorily. That one is clear. All
right, talk to us about how we are having these challenges in the midst of talks of 2 refineries actually coming on stream. Number one, Dangote Refinery, and the other one in Port Harcourt, which we told that there was a mechanical completion or so. And then, of course, up till now, we are yet to. And it's almost the end of April. What exactly is going on? Because people's expectations were heightened by this good news by the government and then this private sector refinery. But yet, it's like we're going into May without this coming on stream.
I recall very well, I mean, during the earlier days of the subsidy removal, I was a member of I was technical advisor to the NLC. I was part of the committee on the energy side of negotiation. And when we went to the villa to speak with to have a meeting with the chief of staff and top government officials, the key line in the proposal is that by December, the Port Harcourt, the refineries will be rehabilitated. And
that's December of 2023.
Yeah, exactly. So, of course, many people who know, like Fela would say, those who know them know the happy. People who know the way things work and never, led the credence to those timelines. They were political timelines. And as you can see, we also have the tradition of political commissions. Whether it's electricity plants, things get commissioned, but they still have bottleneck. So if it's plant, they'll commission the plant. They still have signed up gas supply agreements, and so the commission will say, "Oh, it's ready." But when you commission, it means that everything's ready. It has. If it started working, you have test run it, and it's ready to go and move on. So now we are back to where we don't have the Kaduna refinery, the Port Harcourt refinery, not yet ready. I mean, mechanical issues, whatever it is, the point that they're not yet ready, and so you still see the whole import of PMS, and it affects supply. Again, Dangote. I mean, there's a story. I think it's a Business Day or Bloomberg around credit constraints. Imports come from China, and the cargo, the ship still in the waters waiting for signal. So clearly, I mean, Dangote is a great project, one of the largest in the world in terms of refining capacity. But again, I think perhaps there are a few things, some T's to cross and some I's to dot, that our own urgent need to have an external, ex machina, something that will come and clear this thing, and we are hanging everything on Dangote coming as team. And by the way, Dangote assures us that going to be international competitive pricing. So yes, with diesel, we see some movement.
Yeah, I mean, that's what people are actually saying, that look, for diesel, he has been doing well and all of that. For aviation fuel, we hear that he's set to crash the prices in the market. Yeah. But people are saying that, look, everybody's expectation is actually on petrol, not all of these.
Which is the one that has domino effect, the one that has a much more economic value to ordinary people.
Though diesel actually has,
it's important.
In terms of,
manufacturing sector,
and manufacturing sector and all of that. But for petrol, people think that's the primary commodity that everyone is waiting for.
Yeah, but it has also happened. And again, why petrol oil is very important? Because all these other people can externalize their price costs. So if it's aviation, they increase their tariffs easily. The people who are going to fly may be able to cover extra 100, extra 10,000, 20,000. But for fuel, the PMS, the fact that today people are going to be stranded on the road because the taxi people who spend hours, buying fuel at black market or however, are going to input those prices back to.
Yeah, I mean, when you have lots of manpower.
So where are they going to go to? So I think whatever magic Dangote had in diesel, which we commend what they've done, at least we saw diesel drop by 100 naira or 50 naira. Aviation fuel still expectant. Let that magic work for PMS, which is actually the product. If you do the economic analysis, that has more impact for socio-economic well-being. If it's reasonably priced and easily available, it will have a knock-on effect on especially poverty and small SMEs. Most of them are not on diesel, they won't be on aviation fuel, but definitely they will be on PMS with their small generator. So we want that Dangote magic. But the lesson here is the national economic development strategy should not hinge on the success of one particular private sector facility, no matter how massive, and no matter whether it's Dangote or with proven entrepreneurial capability. But again, we shouldn't be hoping that Dangote will be the one who will just give us that lift. We should work around and ensure that we deal with this problem from a public sector perspective. NNP is the sole importer. NNP runs the infrastructure. We have the regulator. So essentially, they should be able to solve these bottlenecks and not allow them to generate what it is. I hope that before Sunday, or at least by the end of tomorrow, we should get back to some degree of normal. Otherwise, the economic cost will be huge. It's going to
all right. Production. Well, I mean, it's very important the government acts on it, because we actually heard that it's gone way up to Sokoto, where a liter of petrol is being sold for 2,000 naira. That's so and in the current state of economy that we are in, I don't know.
With energy inflation,
yeah,
with
electricity, everything,
forex.
And the government will continue to face the backlash from the public. But talk to us about marketers. I mean, could it be that marketers are also hoarding petrol in anticipation that there could be price increase, though the NNPC has denied that there will be any price increase?
Well, that's a factor. I mean, there are actually, since there is some filling stations have refused to open. I mean, if NNP says they have the bottleneck, it means that suppliers, they could actually take fuel, or they have pay petrol, or the trucks can deliver. So, again, back to what we call animal spirit, which the famous economist Keynes talked about. Our policymakers forget that stories go viral. Fear dominates the market. Fear determines sometimes behavior of market players.
Yeah.
So you might think it's reasonable, but the marketers looking at the whole price regime and looking at the structure, may have anticipation that this price will go up or go down. So that fear could make some of them refuse to vend. You know, they're not selling, they're waiting for possible announcement. We've seen in the past where there's anticipation of, or rumor can fly out from the regulator and says the price is going to go up. And profiteering, you know, if they had bought this at 130 plus X and now X times 2, they wait to make that gain. And that's where the enforcement power of the, you know, the NNPC and this regulatory, you know, institutions, NMDPR is very important. In the past, we've seen them go and crack and break through, force, you know, marketers and vending stations to sell. They had the product, they refused to sell. So a mixture of two things, a mixture of real structural problem and also human element, which is how crises get to you know, deepen, because the human beings who observe and they build their scenarios and the rumors and they go viral and then they behave in line with what they call animal spirit, which means when you're planning policy, you're not going to do with pure rationality. This is what's going to happen. You also factor, just like the forex we're talking about. It's okay, oh, they're manipulators. Before they are manipulators, people are going to try to, you know, manipulate for personal gain, and that a rigid, rugged, robust regulation will anticipate that once you float this is how people will behave. The same way, once this happens, this is how marketers behave. So I think NNPC probably, beyond issue statement, should go to the back end as well and see what's going on. You see that these trucks are not moving? Is it that they have the petrol?
NNPC itself is actually a private company based on what we're told.
Yeah, but that's
so they're supposed to act like one. I mean, trucking and all of that just to ensure free supply. But just before I let you go, let's go into the politics of petrol subsidy removal. We've seen just recently former Governor Nasir El-Rufai of Kaduna State saying that, look, this government is still paying high petrol subsidies. I mean, could that be politics, or is there any reality in it?
Well, I think I want to believe it's real. And again, I tell you why. The government has shown that it can't allow price to move on the so-called equilibrium market force. It's not realistic. I mean, if it has to go that way, then you can see a swing to 1,000.
Yeah, because people are saying it could be 1,100 or even 1,200
exactly. So
right now.
Government really approve 1,100 fuel cost at this time with all that's happening, you know, the same unimproved income, economic stagnation. It's not like the economy is booming and people are, you know, getting more money. I mean, if prices go up and money supply increases, you could basically devaluation, but the impact will not affect consumption. But if there's inflation and there's devaluation, and there's no increase, devaluation not driven by increased money supply, but driven by forex reality, then it's double whammy. So government knows the volatility and political, you know, crisis that this unleashes. And so government will play dead brain, pay subsidy, but maybe not as much as they are paying before, just like this tariff, okay? Look at what has happened there. The same political economics. They don't want to do a general tariff review.
Yeah,
so they assource that deficit to a group, the fictitious group called Band A. Yeah. We're going to have a fictitious 20 every, I mean, there's no power supply increase in any substantial. So if you're going to give 20 hours to some group, you're going to take out hours from other people. So what they did was simply politically take the least dangerous approach. So which political category of the population of Nigeria who will be more willing to pay, less disruptive, who will not go and march out and start breaking things is those who are in so-called band A. They're not necessarily having 20,000, but the illusion that they could have more power supply,
20 hours,
could cushion and kind of condition their response. So this is what they're going to pay this subsidy, and that's what some of us were opposed to the way the subsidy was. But the way the subsidy was removed created, hysteria that leads to manipulation. So everybody said, "Oh, unlock everything." But if it was phased, the government can do back-of-envelope calculation. This is how much we can pay. This is how much. I argue that they would have paid less than they're paying now. And if things continue, they actually could pay more than they could have paid if they had phased, withdrawal. So yes, I want to agree with that Erufai that government is paying subsidy in fuel, but maybe not concealed in a way, or not even as much as they used to pay. That's really, otherwise, they do unlock. They could hit roof up, and it's not sustainable politically to allow citizens pay that much for a product.
All right, Thomas, thank you so much, Dr. Sam Amadi, Arise News analyst, and of course, the director of the Abuja School of Socio-Political Thought. Thomas, thank you so much for joining us to help us understand. And of course, as we continue to build up towards the future, especially politically in 2027, APC increasing any price of petrol right now could actually be a serious business.
We're going to see more of that subsidies as we build to 2027.
Well, interesting times ahead. Thomas, thank you so much for joining us. Well, that has been on this edition of This Week. Almost thank you so much for joining us, and on behalf of my colleagues in Abuja, Lagos, and London, almost thank you so much for watching this edition of This Week. See you next time. I'm Summer Sambo.